Hey there. Welcome to Brookside Banter. My name's Greg. I'm the lead pastor at Brookside Baptist Church in Canada, Ontario. This video blog is really all about helping one another in our journey of exploring the faith of Jesus Christ and living out that faith in our community around us. A couple of weeks back on our Sunday morning gathering, we looked at the whole question of what it means to leave a legacy behind, a legacy worth following, worth pursuing. Kind of how do we live a life that sets a track that people would be smart to follow, whether it's our kids or whether it's friends around us. How can we influence people in a positive way? And there were a couple of questions that came up that I wanted to respond to. People have the opportunity during our time to text in questions, and then we respond to them in this way and kind of carry on the conversation about what it means to live a life of faith. So one of the questions was about this question of offense. How do we live a life that is that doesn't offend, but still is faithful and true to the Word of God? We were talking about what it means to bless others in that gathering, and one of the things we talked about was not offending. But the truth is, there are some kinds of offense that we will, and we have to be ready to actually cause. Jesus, I think, is a great model. He wasn't offensive in the sense that he wasn't obnoxious, he wasn't rude, he wasn't mean-spirited, but he was offensive in the sense that he stood for the truth, and he would not back down from the truth. And I think that's a great model for us when we think about what it means to bless others, to not be offensive, but to be ready to let the offense of the gospel intersect with other people's lives. So there may be many areas of life where we end up offending others because we stand for what's true, because we stand for what's right, because we are not willing to accept or agree or participate in either activities or rallies or even conversation that is dishonoring to Christ or that represents a falsehood. We want to stand for what's true, and we're going to do that graciously, and we're going to do that with love and with a desire to bless others as our goal. But that doesn't mean that we're going to agree with everything and we're going to just go along with everything. It means we're going to stand for the truth. We're going to stand for what's right. We're going to live a life that is different, that's distinctive, that will likely either, just like Jesus did, will either draw people in or push them away, depending on their willingness and openness, their receptivity to the gospel. Another question that came up was kind of a response to part of the message that was speaking about what it means to be a mentor in the life of somebody else. What I said in the message was that we all ought to have a mentor. We all ought to have somebody who's speaking into our life, pouring into us, but we also ought to be a mentor to somebody else, whether it's our kids, whether it's somebody in the next generation, whether it's friends, somebody that's not as far along the spiritual journey as we are. And the question that came up is, well, man, being a mentor, that sounds kind of heavy. Like, isn't that kind of being a prideful, kind of an arrogant kind of thing? And I think it comes down to this. The question is, what's our attitude? How are we approaching people in a mentoring relationship? If we're coming across like, hey, I've got all the answers, I know everything, just I'm perfect, you're a loser, follow me and you'll be perfect too, kind of deal. We don't want to go there. Like that is arrogant, that is prideful, that's wrong. But the reality is that we're all at different stages in the journey, and there's always somebody who's further ahead and there's always somebody who's further behind. And we can always be, no matter where we're at, helping somebody else who's not quite as far along as we are take another step. I think what's important is our attitude, the spirit in which we do it. If we're honest, if we're open, if we're willing to admit our shortcomings, and kind of say like Paul did. Actually, if you want to hear the full message, you can find it on our website, www.mybrookside.church. But I talked about what Paul said in his letter to the Corinthian church. I think it was chapter 14, first verse. He said, follow me as I follow Christ. To the extent that I'm following Jesus in the areas of my life that line up with who Jesus is and what he taught and how he lived, follow that. You know, the other stuff, no, I'm working on that too. Let's work on that together, and maybe I'll be learning something from you in the process as well. Well, God bless you. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.